Welcome to another episode on our channel. In the last episode, we're starting to gear up for the giveaway gift process again. And I put on the table Medusa, the silver Medusa. And primarily because I wasn't emotionally attached to her. She took a lot of room up and she's very interesting. I have to say that. She has some really cool accessories and so forth. She looks great, but I'm just not emotionally attached to her. I love the story in Greek mythology. You know, it's about courage, bravery, loyalty, and karma. Those are interesting constructs to put together. But it was an interesting story I shared last time. And I thought, okay, if I put Medusa on the table, maybe I can put one of my customs on the table with her together. And I thought, these two figures take up a lot of room. Maybe I'll give away not just Medusa, but one of the Centaurs or Centauresses that I've made. And then I read something today as I was studying more about Greek mythology that kind of just disrupted my plans. But let me back up a second, just tell you a little bit about why I got on this journey of doing a centaur or a centauress in the first place. I saw way back when, I saw a company, I think it's called Lucifer. They were offering a centaur elf, a female centaur. And it was a human female, full body, human female. The only thing that was horse were the hooves on that female. It was attached in another female, part female, shaped into a horse. But the only thing on the back legs that was horse were the hooves as well. And in my mind, that was not a centaur or centauress. It was two sets of human legs and shaped like a horse with hooves and something that kind of looked like a tail. So, and it was very sexualized. Didn't really look like a centaurus. Let's just put it that way. And I just thought, you know, maybe I could make something like that. Not like that, but a real centaur or a real centaurus. So I asked my husband, I had a Mark's horse. They don't cost a lot, even to this day on eBay. And I said, could you cut an opening and maybe I could put a female in there and make a centaurus? And he said, yeah, I can. And he did. And I got a female body in there. This is not a TB League body. This is a different body, but it's all one piece from the neck to the torso. It does have joints, you can see, in the elbows and the shoulders and the knees, thighs, the hips and the feet. But in order to fit her into this horse, she isn't very articulated. So I just basically had to take the legs off and she fits fine in the horse. She looks great with the armor on her, covering the joints and so forth. So she turned out very well. And then I asked my husband, you know, if I get another Mark's horse, do you think you can make it fit a male? And he said he thought he could. And sure enough, this is a TB League body, and it does fit completely in the horse because there is super articulation in the body. So there's no taking apart this body. This body is still whole. If I didn't ever want to have this centaur, I could take the body out and use it for something else. But now that I've read this story, I want to keep the centaur and the centauress. So that journey started because of the centaur elf, which apparently when it came out, it cost, Big Bad Toy Store was offering it for $444, and Time Market Toys was offering it for $449. And if you look on eBay today, you're going to see anything from $350 all the way up to, if you can believe this, $1,484.99. $1,484.99 plus $500 shipping and handling. Now that's crazy, but that's what they're offering it for. And it's still 2 female bodies with horse hooves and shaped to look like a horse, not a centaurus at all. So anyway, having said that, I was in love with these 2 figures when I made them, but I've made a lot of different things since then. I'm running out of room and thought maybe these could be on the chopping block, but I'm going to get set up to read this story by a Roman poet, and you'll see why I changed my mind and want to keep these 2 things now. So I'll get set up for that and we'll be right back. We are back, and I'm going to read something written by the Roman poet Publius Ovidius Naso. And it is a tough read, but it comes from Ovid, a section called Metamorphosis. So it's talking about the battle between the Lapiths of Thessaly and the Centaurs. And they're both in the battle. So I'll just start where it starts, and I'll change some wording in one spot because it just doesn't make sense the way it's said. So I'll try to put in my own words and capture the gist of what it was trying to say. Bear with me because this really is a tough read. Nor did his beauty ransom the Centaur Cyllarus fighting that day, if hybrids such as he be granted beauty. His beard was just beginning, a golden beard, and golden tresses fell down on his shoulders, reaching to his flanks. High mettled grace shone in his face, his neck, chest, shoulders, hands, and every manly part seemed like a sculptor's much praised masterpiece. Unblemished, too, his equine shape, nor less fine than his man's. With horse's head and neck, and this is where it gets a little confusing, so let me put in my own words. With horse's head and neck, he'd be tall enough for, I think the person's name is Castor, for him to ride. So high stood his chest muscles, so rideable his back. Jet black he was, the whole of him, save that his tail was white and legs were milk white too. Many a centauress would be his mate, but one had gained his heart, the female centaur, Hylonome. In the high woods, there was none comelier of all the centaur girls, and she alone, by love and love's sweet words and winning ways, held Cyllarus. Yes, and the care she took to look her best, so far as that may be with limbs like that. She combed her glossy hair and twined her curls in turn with rosemary or violets or roses, and sometimes she wore a pure white lily. Twice a day she bathed her face in the clear brook that fell from Pegasus' high forest. Twice she plunged her body in its flow. Nor would she wear on her left side and shoulder any skin but what became her from best chosen beasts. Their love was equal. On the hills they roamed together, and together they would go back to their cave. And this time, too, they went into the Lapiths' house, side by side, and side by side were fighting in the fray. A javelin, no knowing from whose hand, came from the left and wounded Cyllarus, landing below the place where the chest joins the neck. Slight wound, but when the point was pulled away, Cold grew his damaged heart, and cold his limbs. Hylonome embraced him as he died, caressed the wound, and putting lips to lips, she tried to stay his spirit as it fled. And when she saw him lifeless, she moaned words that in the uproar failed to reach my ears, and fell upon the spear that pierced her love, and dying, held her husband in her arms. When I read that, it really touched an emotional chord, and I just couldn't see myself parting with either one of these two figures. So I guess that's it. We're not really going to show you close-ups. You've seen these figures before. I'm just explaining why I'm not going to put either one of these two on the table. It'll just be Medusa for now. We'll talk about some other figures that will be on the table later on. But I hope you liked what you saw today, liked what you heard today. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, please have a great day.